We're talking with Floyd Brown. He's a longtime friend. He's written a great new book called Counterpunch. And we've talked about the problems. We all know the problems. We cover them every week here in the Economic War Room. We covered a lot of them in my book, According to Plan. But what I love about Counterpunch is it's not just a book about problems. It talks about solutions. And Floyd started to tell us some of the solutions at the local level, at the lowest level of government, where you can get involved with your town council and your school board and stand up. And we're doing that here in the Economic War Room. We're encouraging that, like with our Texas transactional gold bill. We've got people coming from all over the state talking at the state level. And eventually we'll get to the federal level, but we can't count on Washington to ride in, like he said, on a white horse and save us. It's just not going to happen. So Floyd, you talk.
And it's not going to happen for some really important reasons. The elites have purchased our government, okay, and they own Congress. It's governed by what I call a uniparty, and there are a few good people. I spent 13 years in D.C., and I remember a mentor of mine, Stan Evans, saying to me in about 1987, I think it was. He said, Floyd, we came to Washington because we knew it was a cesspool. But now that we've been here a few years, we realize it's actually a hot tub.
Yeah.
And, Donald Trump called it the swamp. Back then we called it a cesspool. But I've been through 4 different major wave elections in my lifetime. I was part of the Reagan Revolution.
Right.
I went to Washington as a young man to be part of that revolution. I was very active. I was running Citizens United in 1994 when we had the Contract for America and another wave election with Newt Gingrich. And then, who can forget the Tea Party? I traveled around with Andrew Breitbart and Joseph Farah. We went to Tea Party rallies. I think I spoke at 50 Tea Party rallies, almost every state. I mean, I went all over with the Tea Party movement. Another massive wave election. We were going to change America. And then, of course, you can't forget 2016, where Donald Trump, we had the presidency, we had the House, we had the Senate, we had everything, the trifecta, and still conservatives couldn't even repeal Obamacare.
Right.
And so you have to ask yourself, why is that? What is it about that system? And really, I came to the conclusion that it had been bought. And so you had... people would go to D.C., and I think this is people on the left and the right, and when they would first go there, they would have such great vigor, and they were going to change things, and then, they'd make that first little compromise, and then they'd get reelected, and then maybe another bigger compromise, and then, they wake up 8 or 9 or 10 years later, they become what they went to Washington to defeat.
Except there are very few exceptions, but there are some, and they get marginalized, they get vilified. I talked to Dave Bratt this morning on a call.
He was one.
He was a good one, and Louis Gohmert. I talked to him.
My good friend Andy Biggs, who's still in the House, but he's part of the Freedom Caucus,
marginalized,
right? And
they don't leave and join corporate boards.
No.
If you compromise, you have a paycheck that's worth millions of dollars once you depart Congress. If you do compromise, you get that. If you don't compromise, you're out, and you're out hard.